It's sold in smoke shops, gas stations, and online as a natural alternative to painkillers and other prescription meds. Medical experts say Kratom can act like a stimulant in small doses and like an opioid in high doses, with risks of addiction and withdrawal. This past legislative session, Idaho lawmakers debated whether to ban or regulate it. Neither bill passed. And now, 7Investigates found tens of thousands of dollars from the Kratom industry flowing into campaign accounts, raising questions about transparency and influence this election year. I followed the money and talked to one family who lost a loved one to Kratom and fears their voice can't compete with industry cash.
This is Kylie with my daughters. Kylie's in the middle here. They were really close. This is Kylie and Brooklyn when they were little. Lost the same teeth at the same time. Kylie, she was a really strong-willed person. She was really smart. She was funny. She loved really hard. We had to do so much together. When she believed in things, she fought really hard for things.
But behind that strength and humor,
she had like bone pain, joint pain. Her neck hurt.
23-year-old Kylie Ristisi was in pain, looking for relief without prescription opioids. She found Kratom, a botanical extract marketed online and in smoke shops as a safe, natural alternative.
She had been to a pain specialist, but she had decided that she would rather go the natural route and use natural Kratom powder.
Her family didn't know she was addicted until she died in 2023. While she was taking her prescribed antidepressant, her autopsy listed the sole cause of death as acute mitragynine intoxication, a Kratom overdose.
And they're being told, especially online, that it's a safe alternative for pain or to get off of, other opiates. There's no actual standards. There's no regulation.
Vowing to turn grief into action, Kylie's family, including her aunt Danae Jones, traveled to the Idaho State House to demand a total ban.
Kylie died at 23 years old of acute mitragynine intoxication, the primary active component of Kratom.
I wanted for natural Kratom and synthetic Kratom to become a Schedule 1. If we don't ban that, they will continue making more derivatives, besides the fact that that's what Kylie was using when she died.
But as families, doctors, and police chiefs fought for the state to step in, a multi-billion-dollar industry and many Kratom users fought back.
Literally within a month or something, I could be a criminal for drinking this in the state and go to jail.
In March, during this past legislative session, lawmakers took up House Bill 864 to fully ban Kratom sales and possession.
We heard from people very concerned about the addictive qualities, about whether it was potentially deadly, dangerous. We heard a lot of people on the other side who said that Kratom had allowed them to overcome various medical problems and had allowed them in many instances to get off of addictive opioids. And they were saying that, this allowed them to live a productive life, to hold down a job for the first time in decades.
On the other side of the building, a state senator pitched a Kratom industry-backed bill, keeping natural Kratom legal while adding age limits, strict labeling, and testing requirements, while banning synthetic compounds like 7-OH. The total ban stalled in committee. The regulation bill failed on the Senate floor. The result? Idaho left with 0 statewide safety standards, 0 labeling requirements, 0 age limits.
The status quo is unacceptable. It is really frightening to me that this stuff is just freely available with no restrictions whatsoever, no warnings, no nothing to people of any age. That just feels crazy.
When the session ended without action, 7Investigates found the fight moved to campaign accounts. Financial filings show over $50,000 flowing from Kratom executives, suppliers, and manufacturers to Idaho PACs and candidates, including House Speaker Mike Moyle, Representative Alana Rubel, who sat on the committee that heard the Kratom ban bill, and former legislative candidate Brian McKellar. Representative Moyle declined to do an on-camera interview. He says he didn't initially realize he took money from the Kratom industry, but tells 7Investigates nobody can buy his vote. McKellar says he was open to finding middle ground on the issue.
I didn't feel like we had to draw a line on banning it all. They wanted to put some money behind me and I took it.
If a bill, a regulation bill, or a ban bill came before you again and the Kratom industry was behind the regulation bill and you knew you had accepted that money from the Kratom industry, would that have come into play for you?
Yeah, I think any politician that says if they're given money and then not listening to the people that gave them that money, 100% that would play into it. I don't think any politician should make final decisions that way, but that's how they grab your ear, right?
Why do you think it's important that Idahoans know about this?
It's very important for people to be transparent when our legislators are making decisions on public health. Transparency is really big.
The pharmaceutical industry does the same thing. The rehab industry does the same thing.
Much of that industry cash came from Chris Diotis, owner of Meridian-based Happy Hippo Kratom.
I have no idea why he donated. There were no communications. He didn't say, I'm giving you this money and you better vote this way or anything like that. If I had to speculate, it might be because I was kind of willing to hear both sides.
Diotis says that is why.
And I really made it a point to give it to lawmakers that I felt really were willing to listen to both sides of the issue.
Do you feel that the money that you have contributed could buy a vote in favor of the Kratom industry?
If only it were that easy, frankly. Kratom's been sold in Idaho for over 2 decades, and it's been getting a lot of negative press, largely, if not entirely, because of the 7OH products that are a legitimate public safety concern, and our regulation bill expressed that, but I am hoping to have a voice on this issue.
Diotis says his advocacy is driven less by business and more by personal reliance as a consumer dealing with chronic pain.
And when my back acts up, it's bad. It is bad. I cannot function. Kratom helps this, doesn't eliminate the pain entirely, but it lets me function. It doesn't make me a zombie. I can be there for my family. I can work.
Even though it has the ability to take lives.
That's what the regulation is needed. Any product, if severely abused, can have adverse side effects. Kratom is like that, with potentially more adverse side effects.
But for grieving families,
I mean, she always just had to correct her aims.
they feel that political money creates an unfair playing field.
It worries us that we're not going to be heard. And it's scary to think that maybe the industry, their money could possibly make a difference where all that we have is our story. If we don't have the kind of finances that the kratom industry has, we don't have lobbyists.
While the Drug Enforcement Administration recently banned highly potent synthetic compounds, natural kratom products remain unregulated on Idaho shelves, leaving families, advocates, and lawmakers locked in a debate over public safety and personal choice.
People need to know that it's not safe, that natural is not safe. And if we can help just one family, if we could save one life, then that's worth it to us.
From 2021 through July of this year, Department of Health and Welfare data shows 96 people died from kratom-related overdoses. 4 deaths reported so far this year show kratom alkaloids, or 7-hydroxymetragenine, 7OH, were involved. Health and welfare records show the vast majority of kratom-related overdoses also involved other substances. This is important, like fentanyl, meth, or alcohol. 9 overdose deaths from 2021 to the middle of last month list kratom only.